So welcome again in program What's Up. We have a special guest, Mr. Michael Coteau. He is MPP from Don Valley East. He is our former minister in the government of Catherine Wynne. So before the break, he was telling us about his background. Mr. Coteau, you came from a very ordinary family. I think people like you are true stories of those successful immigrants who can aspire to any level in this country. Tell us more about you.
Well, my mother came here to Canada looking for opportunity. My father's from Grenada. Actually, he's from a small island next to Grenada called Carriacou.
Okay.
7,000 people.
Oh.
It's very small.
Okay.
My mother, and it's very agricultural-based farming, stuff like that.
So how they got about Canada, how that we can
So my
reach
father went, as you know, the Commonwealth, is connected all around the world. And my father went from Grenada by boat to England.
Oh.
Went to northern England into Yorkshire. Met my mother, who's from Barnsley, small town.
Okay.
Both of them grade 8 education. My mother's from a coal mining family.
Okay.
And my mother had, there was 9 children, and her mother died very young.
Oh, so
my
had to
mother
raise her siblings.
My mother played a major role in raising her family until she was old enough, and my grandfather met someone else and got remarried. But humble background, my mother used to tell us they used to go and, go searching for mushrooms or taking old potato sacks and making rugs, for in front of the fireplace, which was coal they used. But my mother grew up with strong values, and my father that, when we stick together, we're going to be stronger.
Okay.
And they had a family. I was the first, and I have 2 other brothers. The youngest one was born in Canada, but I was born in England.
Okay. How old were you when you came
4
here?
years old.
4 years old.
And we went to Flemington Park, across from the Science Center, and that was very, very multicultural community.
Okay.
Every culture you can think of was in this community. And I used to say, this is where I learned about people. Filipino people from, from Asia, people from Europe. Like every culture was in my building. The hallway at dinner time, I always say, is like the United Nations of smell. You could smell any type of spice, right?
Okay.
It was wonderful. They got to, know people and understand their culture. And I think that's, given me a lot of the tools necessary to excel in politics. But growing up in that type of environment, in a humble environment and multicultural and, getting to know people, I think prepared me for politics. And politics...
What your parents were doing in the beginning?
My father, when he first got here, he worked in a factory making furniture. Then he went back to school and learned how to fix washing machines.
Okay.
And my mother cleaned buildings. She used to work at the Coca-Cola factory. And she used to have 2 jobs. So we used to go, my father and I and my brother would go late at night, 11 o'clock, and, pick her up from work because she would work full day and then work in the evening. But people worked hard, right? They worked hard, and my parents worked hard, and, I'm the first person in my family to graduate high school.
Okay.
And then go to university, and I kept working hard.
How did you decide to come to politics?
I went to well, I'll tell you, there's a couple of things that happened, and I saw how politics played a role in finding solutions. So then I went to the library to find out if I was a conservative, liberal, NDP. I didn't know what I was. And I went to the library and I read about multiculturalism and Pierre Elliott Trudeau and the fact that, the immigration in this country used to be racist immigration, right? Back in the 1960s, people forget that Pierre Elliott Trudeau removed this racism behind immigration.
Yeah.
We're having lots of these debates today too. Not as complex, but immigration debates.
Yeah.
But in the 1960s, they would not let people from the Caribbean come here as citizens, right? Yeah. Pierre Elliott Trudeau opened the door, and that's why you have such a large Caribbean population in Canada now.
So are others.
So many others, so many other cultures.
Even Punjabi Sikh community.
Yeah, and it's beautiful, right? Because it makes us a country
Yeah.
that has the best human capital.
Yeah.
And this is why I'm running for politics, because I think that Ontario is going to go through a lot of challenges in the next few decades. And still, multiculturalism was something that kept us together back in the 60s, 70s, 80s. But that glue that kept us together today is not working. We need to find ways, as you know, as people from Punjabi heritage, from the Caribbean, Chinese community, to work together.
Yeah.
To make Ontario an economic success, to continue to build. My fear is that if the economy goes down, people will begin to fight with each other. And we're seeing it more and more in politics today, the separation of people.
Yeah.
People saying mean things and nasty things to each other. I want people to understand that even during the worst times, we have to work together. And especially because of the new economy, automation, AI, machine learning, all these transformations that are happening around the world. If we don't learn to work together and to maximize our human potential,
resources,
we will lose internationally. And the young people in this country today, the new immigrants, young people, they're the fuel to the success. The fourth, fifth generation young people who are here, they are part of this success. Me, immigrant at 4 years old, I'm part of this storyline of Canada, yourself.
Yeah.
We need to excel, and we need to make sure that our workforce is prepared to take on the opportunities that the change in the new economy is going to bring, so that all of us in Ontario can do well.
Okay.